Established in 2000, Mapletree is today a leading real estate development, investment and capital management company headquartered in Singapore. In its earlier years, Mapletree's portfolio was characterized by aging, low-yielding property assets and undeveloped land. The turning point occurred in 2003 under the solid leadership of its Group Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Hiew Yoon Khong. The company embarked on an aggressive growth strategy. Mr. Hiew's vision was to transform Mapletree into a real estate capital management business. With this in mind, he established a business model that integrated the roles of developer, investor, and capital manager.
The big challenge was really the definition of the business model. I was very convinced that the right business model was a combination of real estate as well as the capital management model. So we set about defining that business model, and then we spent a lot of time and communication session with the team to try and get everybody to understand what that business model does and what are the characteristics that we wanted to extract from the business model.
In the early 2000s, demand was growing from both institutional and retail investors in the region for real estate investment products like real estate investment trusts, also known as REITs, private real estate funds and mortgage-backed securities. With Mr. Hiew at the helm, Mapletree sought to be at the forefront of establishing REITs and private funds. Many of the developments that Mapletree has transformed into high-quality assets with strong yields have been placed in the listed REITs under its established capital management business, which today includes 6 private real estate funds and 4 REITs.
We are in the rate of return that we have targeted, that is more than 10%. But that is not to say that we can't improve on it. In fact, I think in our current 5-year plan, we are hoping to maintain a high level of profitability and achieve yet even more sustainability and stability in our results.
10 years ago, in 2005, we listed the first Mapletree Trust, the first logistic REIT in Singapore. The demand was overwhelming. We see for the first time oversubscription of more than 40 times and a demand of $10 billion.
With its overseas presence established through MLT, the company continued to build its presence and developed an overseas strategy to invest in markets and real estate sectors with good growth potential, not just in Asia, but globally.
We've been involved in the sale of Festival Walk in Hong Kong, the JTC industrial portfolio in Singapore, the Beijing Gateway building, and most recently the global service department business of Oakwood. His vision for Mapletree is so strong that he can see where the gaps are in the business. Back in 1998, we talked about REITs in Singapore together, and because there was no REIT market in place. So he was sort of 4 years ahead of anyone else that was thinking about REITs. So, that's how I always sort of think of Hiew, that he has a series of 5-year plans, but he's already at the beginning of one when one ends. So he just stays ahead of the curve. He has great vision and he sees where the gaps are in the business.
One thing that has not changed is his emphasis on returns of each investment decision that the group makes, and the thoroughness involved in the process of each decision that he makes. Hiew is really well respected because of this investment rigor and his sheer discipline to execute strategies and achieve targets. And I would say he's largely responsible for helping develop the local REIT industry.
Recognizing that it needs to groom a strong talent pool and build capabilities in capital management and real estate skills such as development, Mapletree pays much attention to training its staff.
The emphasis in terms of training and the emphasis in terms of personal development is very important to him. Despite his very busy schedules today, he has also set aside specific times to have his coaching sessions. And I think it's through this face-to-face kind of interaction that the next generation of the Mapletree staff can learn what the principles and what a kind of model that the whole business of Mapletree is all about.
In the 10 years since Mr. Hiew became Group CEO, Mapletree's returns, earnings and scale have soared. For the financial year ending in 2014, net asset value was $8.53 billion, almost 4 times the $2.2 billion recorded a decade ago. Profit after tax and minority interests rose to close to $860 million, compared with the net loss of $211 million a decade ago. The value of Mapletree's total owned and managed assets has grown to $24.6 billion as at 31st March 2014, more than 10 times the $2.35 billion it held back in 2003.
He inspires his people, caring, giving them the confidence to perform as he sets challenging and stretch targets to achieve strong and sustainable returns to our investors and shareholders. He has successfully grown the company with a strong Asian presence with asset size of over $25 billion. As he creates wealth for the company, he's very much behind Mapletree corporate social responsibility culture, especially in the area of education. He believes in providing opportunities to underprivileged students to give them a better future.
With Mr. Hiew's commitment to grow the company, together with a disciplined and sustainable business strategy, Mapletree will continue to grow and strengthen going forward.